topics, news, events, and stories through correspondence reports, expert opinions, and stakeholder analysis. Now to the headlines. Bayelsa State, Diri approves surveillance cameras to boost security. In Lagos State, Sanwo-Olu signs organ transplant bill, others into law. In Kaduna State, residents appeal for compensation over grid collapse. Presidency, Nigeria can't grow without addressing power sector Shetima. The judiciary court grants Yahaya Bello 500 million naira bail. In governance, SAN advocates 6-year single term for president governors. Religion, I nearly got into trouble for telling the truth, Adebayo. And in ethnicity, controversy, Badenoch detaches herself from northern Nigeria. Remember that we are open for advert placement, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our Atn socials on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network on Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1 on Twitter. We're on Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. We'll go on a short break, and when we get back, I'm going to introduce you to my amazing guest. Please stay with us.
The biggest media and entertainment award ceremony in Rivers State in 2024 is upon us. The maiden edition of the Rivers State Media and Entertainment Awards is an award ceremony aimed at celebrating individuals and organizations that have stood out in the media and entertainment industry in the year under review. Oh yes, who will be crowned as the best? It will be a night of glitz and glamour as the radio station of the year, television station of the year, newspaper of the year, magazine of the year, on-air personality of the year, sports presenter of the year, and many more all receive recognition the biggest, best and most popular comedians, music arts, and cultural troops will be on display in a night not to be forgotten.
A friend of mine saw me. I'm like, hey, Basket, congrats, man. I heard your sister just gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. And I said, no. And he said, ah. So what did she give birth to? I said a fish.
Date, Sunday, 15th of December, 2024. Venue, Aztec Acom, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt. Red carpet is by 5 p.m. Is by 7 p.m. The gate is free.
Say you did want me, Say you did want nobody.
Come celebrate with the biggest names in the media and entertainment industry as the Rivers State Media and Entertainment Awards takes our city to the next level. The 2024 Rivers State Media and Entertainment Awards. Be there or be square.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Here with me in the studio to have this discuss is Mr. Franklin Wilson. He's a public affairs analyst. I'm so glad to have you with me here today.
Thank you very much.
You look amazing.
Thank you so much. You too.
Thank you so much. Let's go right into it. Bayelsa State Governor Senator Doye Diri has approved the installation of closed-circuit surveillance cameras for some sections of Yenagoa to boost security and crime prevention within the state capital. The project, which entails the installation of 200 new cameras and the revamping of 50 others, is in furtherance of the administration's Safe City program. Diri disclosed this during a 3-day Security Watch Africa's Initiative conference, which ended on Thursday night in Doha, Qatar. The keynote address of the governor, who is on annual leave, was presented by the State Security Coordinator and Coordinator of the Bayelsa Community Safety Corps, Brigadier General Eric Angaye, retired. According to the governor, the use of technology was a critical enabler for security and law enforcement operations, has received priority attention through the phased implementation of a Safe City program, which incorporates revamping a legacy 50 camera system and addition of 200 cameras to enhance surveillance and domain awareness. The governor said that his administration's investment in physical, social, and digital infrastructure was critical for promoting peace and security in the state. He also stated that implementing digital solutions to crime prevention enhances governance, public service, and economic opportunities. That is a lot. What are your thoughts on this story?
You know, my challenge is, and I keep praying every day, God bring Nigeria to that time when things like this should not be on the news, because these are things that should be normal.
All right.
It's just like me now as a man now, you know, using the toilet, and I'll now come out and say, wow, do you know, not just like using the toilet.
It's a testimony.
You understand my point? That means something was wrong. That maybe with my body that would have stopped me from being able to go to the toilet for some time, and then finally I started again. Now, this is something that should be normal. Now, there is no politician in this country now that will build his house or her house and will not have security cameras in the compound. You understand?
Right, yeah.
And there is no right-thinking person that will build today that won't have surveillance in his house or her house. So telling you that these things are basic necessities that we should have as a people. Now, using this as a campaign and my administration will, for me, it's painful, but all the same, I will give him the kudos to take that step. If we can be able to network our states like this, and everyone knows that there are cameras at every major junction, networking the city, that there is no dark area in the city, crime will reduce. Because you know that on your street right now, there's a camera looking at you.
This is a very beautiful insight. I want to ask you, do you know Bayelsa hasn't had power in a long time?
You know, I was to get there. You understand me? I was to get there, but I was
Bayelsa hasn't had power in a long time. Do you think this is the best time for setting up cameras around the state? Because if there is no power supply, there are many dark ends, there are many dark corners. So do you think this is the best time for such implementation?
For me, it's not. Like I said, my challenge with our country is that most times politicians do things that they can be able to benefit from, not for the people. Now, if you check the supply of these cameras now, there's somebody that has this contract.
Right.
And at the end of the day, one camera may cost, let's say, I'm just using an instance right now, let's say 5,000 naira, and at the end of the day, we'll quote 10,000 naira. And then at the end of the day, you say, okay, we are doing cameras for the state, but that's somebody business. That's somebody gaining from that. That's why I said, for me, fix the power supply first of all. Let there be 24 hours light. Let there be street lights, and that in the night, people can be able to see clearly. It will also reduce crime. Then before the issue of the cameras. That's just my challenge, like I was saying, initially.
Now let's go into the other part of many shops, many businesses, many houses, like you earlier mentioned, they have cameras. do we have people that look at these cameras in real time when there is a problem to say this is going on? Most of the surveillance things you see online, it has already happened. The item has already been stolen. The man has already been shot. The child has already been kidnapped.
Exactly.
What processes do you think Bayelsa State government needs to put in place if they're putting up, such an infrastructure to make sure that this, these cameras are being watched over time so security agencies can be The case of organ harvesting, it's been on the rise.
Yeah.
You hear things like this person is a Yahoo boy and they're taking parts for rituals, but sometimes, in fact, there was a news about a boy taking a girl, you know, killing this girl and way-billing her parts to another state. Right. What are your thoughts on this story as regards to organ harvesting?
For me, when it comes to the health sector, completely, if we're going to get it right in Nigeria, no private individual should own a hospital.
Why'd you say that?
Because if we're going to get it right, as long as private individuals own hospitals, own clinics, it's going to be, healthcare is going to be costly, there'll be competition, and all this corrupt whatever that we have. Okay, it's just like now if you go to UPTH, for instance, almost all the doctors, they have their own private clinics. And most times when you come there, they treat you anyhow. Why? So that when you now come to their private clinic, you are treated like a queen. You understand me?
But don't you think that is against your practice and the oaths they swear?
It is, but then, like in the US, in the UK, you don't see any private person owning a hospital. It's 100% the government. Everybody works. So now, because you don't have nothing to fall back to, you bring in your A game there. That's why their hospitals are working. Because it's owned by the government. So for instance now, I build a hospital, you build one. If I have more money than you, I put more, more equipment. I can pay my staff more, so I have more qualified doctors, in quote, and nurses and all that. Then you now find out that the government-owned hospital now is not taken care of, because all the doctors, is it CMOs and all that, whatever attention they are giving it to their private clinics so it can work. So number one, talking about having a center where to be able to stop the illegal organ harvesting, for me, I don't think Nigeria is ready to be able to manage this. It's a way forward, it's a good one.
I was going to ask, so do you think it's a bad idea that this was set up?
For me, I don't think we need this now, because this can be legalizing some things.
What things?
Now, for instance, in Nigeria before now, if I need a kidney, I will need to get someone who will agree, you understand, to give me his own or her own. Now I bring the person. But now, if they now say they now have a center where these things are collected, now the question is, because it is government owned, how are we going to be sure that Lagos State government will not want to make money out of this? Definitely they want to make money. And in trying to have profit, do you know how many innocent persons that are going to be killed behind and their organs harvested? Now, you won't have, I don't know how to
abroad,
this could
people aren't killed for, people voluntarily
donate as they want to die. Somebody can say, when I die, give this.
Right.
Why? Because the system is working.
So you don't think we can have people voluntarily give out their body parts in Nigeria to Lagos State government?
The Nigeria I know, the typical Nigerian man.
Is it because of our religious background?
Both religion is a part of it, and then the ethnic bias too is also a part of it. For me, it's a good one, it's a way forward, but my problem is sustaining this. Okay, look at even donating of blood, for instance. There are some hospitals around that you can go and donate your blood and they pay you some money if you want to sell it. There are others that if you want to go and give it free. Now, I have gone to the hospital before and I had a friend that needed blood because I think I'm O positive, so I give to anyone. And even in my church, sometimes when they have issues like that, there are some of us that they must always call. Now, when we got there, they were meant to take, is it one or two of that bag? The woman made sure that they took 3 of those their bags out from. And I'm like, but I thought they said they just needed. Now, why are they doing that? Now they've gotten something extra. When somebody comes in there and has an emergency, that, okay, this person cannot afford this thing, that hospital is ready to watch that person die if that person cannot pay to buy that blood. But this is something they got free from someone. Do you understand my point now? Abroad, when it is donated free, it is given free. At least to save that life. Maybe later things can be done. But here, they collected it free. You need to pay for it before they attend to you. So my challenge is not about having this. My challenge is when the people that truly need it come. Like abroad, I remember London, one of my aunties then that wanted to do this stuff. They told her, okay, we don't have anyone ready right now. Give us 2-3 months. And they told her that they had.
So there's usually a wait list.
Exactly. They gave her a number to wait. And the moment it was her turn and they found, they called her and said, we have found. I don't know if you get my point. Now, They didn't care whether she was a rich person, a poor person. There was already a system. But my question now is, by the time these organs start coming into this ban, is there going to be a system to make sure that the people that need this thing get it? And it not still be the issue of the poor suffering and the rich.
So you're thinking that there's a possibility this might be turned into classism.
Exactly. And then secondly now, since it's already a state-owned stuff, somebody could have an accident, for instance, and this life can be saved. But intentionally, instead of saving the life, they can just tell the people that this person will not survive. Why? So that they can be able to harvest the organs. This is Nigeria we're talking about. For me,
I was going to ask you if you think other states should implement such in their states.
We are not ready for that yet. For me, I have my reservations with this. It's a good one if we can be able to set up a good system to manage it. It's a good one if we can set up a good system to manage it. But at the long run, this corrupt stuff, corruption, before you know it now, somebody that could have just been treated can be intentionally left.
But then again, when you say left to go, some form of consent has to be given by a victim or a person's family or by the person themselves to say, I want my organ removed. I don't think there is a. Do you think there's a factor that will make them want to take it irrespective of?
Like in Nigeria right now, the issue of human rights. Do we have a human right working in Nigeria? Can you say we have that the Human Rights Act law or whatever in Nigeria is effective?
To some degree, I think.
If truly to some degree you think so, according to the law, if I am right, if I go to the police station now and say so and so and so and so stole my goat, the law says this person is not guilty until proven right. Police should come, make an arrest, grant bail, and not detain the person, charge the person to court, and let the matter be.
Is police even supposed to come into a goat stealing problem?
No, I'm just trying to give you an instance. I'm just trying to make an illustration right now.
Okay.
This matter should go to court so the investigations can be done and tried, and then we find whether the person is guilty or not. But you find out that the moment I come and make that complaint, police are going to pick this person. The way this person will be beaten, treated as if they are sure he stole it. The Human Rights Act is not working. No, I just use that one now as an excuse. Now, landlord and tenant have small misunderstanding because landlord has more money. He says, I will deal with you. And we'll just call for this, please arrest this boy. What did he do? Nothing. Just arrest him and teach him a lesson. And that's all. And nothing will be done about that matter. It's not there. Because human rights means that it doesn't matter who you are. You follow the due process. If a poor man that is not driving a car runs to the police station to make a report about the wealthiest man in his city, the police should at least act. Is it chief that you are reporting? Madam, chief, we can't go there. Now, the human rights is not there. So now think about it now. This thing that has been built now. Now, I don't know if you are thinking what I'm thinking, but the truth is that I'm scared because a lot of things will become legal by virtue of this.
Now, other than what you rightly mentioned with, classism will come into play. I'm still trying to get clarity on people being led to die, and there's supposed to be some form of consent from the person's family,
which means
or from the person themselves.
Yes, this thing now, that means I can come now and say, my father is about to die. And instead of him just dying and the family doesn't have anything, can Lagos state government come and buy his kidney, buy his liver? They are all functioning well. Now I'm telling. Now you see, we are trying to. Okay, how will they get these things? Is it going to be free? No, I'm looking at how are they going to get these parts now when the time comes. I'm thinking the Nigerian way now. A brother now can just come now and just go and meet them and say, my brother is dying, without his consent or her consent. And because there's nothing anybody can do about it, and then sell that thing.
Why do we have the there is nothing anybody can do about it?
That is why
clause?
I said that as long as our Human Rights Act is not effective, there's a whole lot of things that cannot work the way it should work.
How do we get our Human Rights Act intact?
Like I said, it still begins with me and you. As I am now, I'm not working in a parastatal or a government or whatever that can be able to get that working. But it's painful because somebody said in Nigeria, try your best not to enter trouble. Just anything you can do to avoid wahala, just avoid.
Just avoid. Thank you.
Because sometimes you may be thinking this can save you, this can save you. It becomes who knows who and who has worth.
I hope that it gets better and we're able to restructure properly. Kaduna electricity consumers have appealed for compensation over the collapse of the country's national grid and epileptic power supply in the state. The customers appealed on Thursday at a 3-day customers complaint summit organized by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission in Kaduna. The head of manufacturing, ROH Plastics Limited, Sanjeev Kumar, and Vibhav Lakhol expressed frustration over the inability to operate their businesses, saying that their company lost 60 million naira in 10 days due to the national grid collapse in October. As a production company, we rely heavily on consistent power to meet the demands of our esteemed customers. Running our machines on generators is unsustainable because of the prohibitive costs. This outrage paralyzed our operations and caused us substantial financial losses. We are not only demanding compensation, but are also seeking concrete resolutions to prevent a reoccurrence of such disruptions. Kaduna Electric should address issues like power fluctuations, low voltage, and unexpected outages, which have significantly impacted the company's productivity and profitability, he said. The national grid a few days ago collapsed for the 13th time.
We might still be going for 14 and 15 times.
What are your thoughts on this story in that regard?
No, it's painful. In a country that can give another country power, and that country celebrated, I can't remember when Ghana celebrated how many years of not having one outage of power.
Why do we still have a power problem in
That's what I'm
2024?
trying to say. Nigeria, I think, still gives Cotonou light. I think so. And Cotonou doesn't have a blink. The same country that gives other countries light and it does not blink once cannot be able to make sure that her own citizens. You see, that tells us, brings us back to what I was talking about. Because this national grid failing, when it fails, I know that money is released to bring it back. I know that they don't just bring it back on like that. There's a cost of bringing it back. So now what's going on?
You think it's become a business?
It's become a business. It's obvious. 12 times or 13 times. In how many? In a space of how many? This is within 2 years now, right?
Yes.
No. Let's look at it now. Let's tell ourselves the truth.
Now, prior to this times, national grid collapse wasn't a thing. So why do you think this has become so prominent and prevalent?
Like I said, I don't know. I can say this. I can just say this. Let's tell ourselves the truth. We know what to do and things will work. But I just believe that some people are just sitting somewhere and just having fun at the expense of the joy, the peace, of the other citizens. Because you can't tell me national grid collapsing for the 13th time. I don't know. It's still. They have not come out to tell us this is the reason.
Oh, they did claim that vandals, were stealing materials.
What kind of vandals? How did they get access to the place? There are things that when you hear it,
There's certain core materials were being removed
you ask
from
yourself. You ask yourself, how did the vandals? What took them in there?
Do you think these people are in their right to demand for compensation?
They are. They are.
Do you think they should be compensated?
Most of these businesses are paying tax. Most of these businesses are not owing on their tax. So if I pay my tax, the government owes me certain things. Then if the national grid collapsing is as a result of whatever lapses from the government should be able to do something about it. They should. They should.
And they claim to be working on it.
Working on it? How long are we going to work on it? How long? Now they say and people came and vandalized the place. How did they come? Why couldn't? Is it that we don't have security operatives that can be stationed at certain places within whatever place to be able to make sure that it doesn't happen again? Okay, let's assume that the first one that happened, they didn't know what to do. Now, after the first one happened, if it was their private business or their personal house, will they still leave it vulnerable for that same vandal to come back again? That's my question. Let's be real. These things, I don't know, but this particular set of politicians, I don't know. Sometimes the kind of things they say, the excuses they make, and I'm just looking at like that and asking myself, are they looking at us as children that we don't know anything? No. Think about it.
So do you think all businesses should demand accountability from the government as regards this power issue we've been having?
If the citizens can be able to come to that point, it's just that Nigerians have been so abused that we can't even stand and demand for what is our right. We can't.
Sadly so. We go straight down to our next story. I really appreciate your insight on that one. Vice President Kashim Shettima has declared that there is no way Nigeria can dream of meaningful economic development without addressing the power sector crisis and ensuring the country has access to electricity and other affordable energy. He urged leaders in the country to rise above differences to confront the power sector crisis and become part of the reincarnation of Nigeria as an industrialized nation. Vice President Shettima spoke on Thursday when he inaugurated the National Economic Council NEC Ad Hoc Committee on National Electrification and NEC Ad Hoc Committee on Polio Eradication at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Shettima made reference to countries with similar challenges of energy insufficiency, such as Indonesia, India, South Africa, and Uganda, pointing out that they are already in the league of those at the forefront of post-industrial revolution. One common theme with these countries and others in the post-industrial revolution community is that they have largely resolved the issue of energy insufficiency. He acknowledged the basic challenges in the nation's power sector, especially the national grid, which has been witnessing system collapse. The Vice President, however, expressed optimism that there will soon be significant improvement following the recent reforms in the energy sector, which have opened the sector not only to the participation of otherwise excluded players, but also to attract investment, both foreign and local. Do you think this is a way in the right direction as what we are, for what we are just discussing?
If they can be able to do the reforms and implement the reforms and make sure that we have constant power, it will go a long way to help a whole lot of stuff. It's just like we are here right now, here in the station here. Everything here will not be possible without electricity.
Right.
And I know right now that you guys are running generator. Paying for the diesel right now makes a whole lot of things higher.
Right.
But
cost of running the business.
You see, so let's assume now that there is 24 hours power supply. You won't need to buy diesel. You won't need to. That extra cost of diesel will be put into something else. You understand me?
Right.
That even when I come to this station and say, okay, I need airtime, I want to buy airtime. Whatever you're going to be giving me, you are adding your diesel cost inside. And maybe my content is one that will help Nigeria get better if they watch this station. Now, because of that cost now, it might stop me and I won't be able to afford it. What has happened? Because there is no constant power supply, we've lost something that would have helped the nation move forward. The same thing with the young man on the street that is a laundry person. He needs electricity to iron. Now, if he's going to buy fuel or diesel to be able to do the ironing that probably if there was 24 hours electricity, now the cost of laundering somebody's clothes will become higher than what it should have been. Now it trickles down to even transportation. It trickles down to every area.
Right.
You find out that the cost of living goes high.
Goes high.
And then secondly too, when there's electricity, people become creative. There's a business I can do right now if there's a 24-hour power supply. But when I think of that business right now, I say, nah. If I'm not putting the cost of running a generator on that business, I'm not saying how much will be my gain. And let it be. What's happening? Unemployment. Because every business that thrives will always employ somebody. You understand me?
Right.
So you see that now unemployment is on the rise. Why? Everything boils down to one thing. Power supply.
So if this is fixed, it's going to help a lot.
If this is fixed, it's going to help a whole lot.
Thank you so much for your insight on that one. Federal High Court in Abuja on Friday granted bail to the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, in the sum of 500 million naira with 2 sureties in like sum. This followed the former governor's plea of not guilty to the 19-count charges filed against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Bello is facing trial for alleged money laundering involving 80.2 billion naira, but maintained his innocence on all charges. During the hearing, counsel for the EFCC, Kemi Finhero San, informed the court of the prosecution's intention to withdraw an earlier application to abridge the date initially set for arraignment. He stated that the application had been overtaken by events. The defendant's counsel, led by Joseph Daudu San, raised no objection, and Justice Emeka Nwite granted the request. In his ruling, Justice Iwite said, "I have considered the submissions of both counsels. Based on the evidence and assurances provided, I'm inclined to reconsider my earlier position on this matter." He granted the defendant bail in the sum of 500 million naira with two sureties. The sureties must own landed properties within the jurisdiction of this court and provide affidavit of means. The title deeds must be verified by the court registrar he directed. The defendant was also ordered to submit his international passport and remain in custody at the Kuje Correctional Center until he fulfills the bail conditions.
If you grant him bail, let him go home and then be coming to court. Because for me, EFCC, if they really want to do their job, he's not the only governor that misappropriated funds.
So you don't think holding him is going to act as a deterrent to other people?
What is it going to help? It's not. Now, for instance,
do you think
now look at how long it took them. It took them to get him to answer to this. A whole governor in a state, EFCC couldn't find him for how long? Who are we deceiving?
Do you think that those are part of the systemic failure in the EFCC?
It's part of it. For me, I see EFCC as, for now, when it comes to the issue of these politicians and all that, if you are not for the ruling party, they come against you. Because let's face it, he's not the only governor that misappropriated funds. If they want to get things right, they should go for all of them. And some of them are even seated in the Senate right now. Some of them are seated in the House of Representatives and all that. So some of them are ministers right now. That's the truth.
Do you believe in the need to make a scapegoat out of someone to make a deterrent?
I believe in it. But my challenge is that it will not be like a scapegoat. It will look like he is not loyal.
Why will it look like he's not loyal?
Because that is the system. That is what it looks like in Nigeria. If you are loyal, your sins are wiped off. When you are not loyal, your sins. That's what it's been looking like. Because if you are to look at the past administrations, okay, all the people that have been probed, you look at Orji Okalu, for instance. Orji Okalu, for instance. That man is from my state, Abia State. Does he deserve to be a senator today? After what he did with the funds of Abia State? These things are clear. It's not like somebody is, you understand me?
Right.
It's like somebody is trying to put an allegation on somebody. With all that we all know, that everybody is aware of it, then T.A. Orji.
Now, the current chairman of the EFCC, I'm sure it's different from the chairman of the EFCC.
See, that's why I said, for me, this story, we already know how it's going to end. We already know how it's going to end. So for me, no problem. Let them give him bail. Let him come to court. Let him prove his innocence. And at the end of the day, however it turns, we leave it to be.
80.2 billion
that
naira is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Do you think it's something that should be waived off? As it were, you said come to trial, defend himself and go.
For me, there's no need us wasting our, resources trying, because now EFCC is going to pay the lawyers that's going to represent them. That's wasting the Nigerian resources. We already know how much he stole. They have his bank account. They collect the money back, and the man goes his way.
You feel that is a more straightforward and easier way?
It's more straightforward. Take the money back.
But you know that when such huge amounts are taken, they will only mention or talk about the ones they can actually.
No problem. That one that is seen and caught. For me, instead of all this jumping up, jumping down, by the time I don't know how to put this, but somebody will say, okay, due process proven, blah, okay,
right.
They've not proven all these things. it's just an allegation made.
It's an allegation
made on him. There is no challenge. However it is, we know the truth.
And what is the truth?
We know the truth.
We want to know the truth. Yeah.
For me, we need to get it right. We just need to get it right. The rule of law, I'm just trusting that one day we'll have leaders that are willing to do the right thing, even if it means them going in for it. By the time we have leaders like that, that's what I was telling you earlier on. I said, if that a rule can be made in Nigeria that before you can contest for governor, you should have built a company, a company or a business, or have served in a particular sector, and we should see your pedigree, your success track, the things you've been able to achieve, produce, bring in.
Now, when you say this again, are you of the opinion that having achieved success, and we put people that are successful in power, do you think absolute power would not still corrupt them at that point in time?
You see, one thing about success is that there are principles that govern success. I'm not talking about people that got successful through hook and crooks and hooks, but anybody that puts the principles of success, integrity, service, you put in the hard work and get there. Along your journey to getting to the top, you would have been so broken that power cannot corrupt you. That's why if we bring it over in leadership, every good follower will always make a good leader. Because you knew what it took you to report to work by 7 a.m. You know the challenges it took you to be able to follow and carry out the instructions of your leader.
All right.
By the time they make you a leader, you will have empathy. Because you will remember yourself when you were following. You remember yourself. You remember the things you went through. So even when you are now leading people, you'll be fair. You'll be just. Why? Because you've gone through what they went through, or what they are going through right now.
All right.
But when you cut corners to arrive there, okay, it's just like now you studying in the school, you read and you made a first class. If you become a lecturer, because you know you didn't sort any lecturer, you didn't cut any corner, you read, you know what it means to put in the work. You will not joke with any student that reads and comes up. You won't want to fail anybody like that in your class, because you know what it took you to get there. But if you cut the corners and then you become a lecturer, if and when somebody is trying to prove to you he can read and get an A in your class, it won't be getting you angry. What is it trying to feel like? Oh, that you can read. Okay, now come and read and pass. Let me see you. Do you understand me? Because you cut the corners. That person trying to get it right becomes a judgment on you. You begin to feel guilty with the person, and then all of a sudden you start attacking the person. But if you succeed rightly, if you're able to build success, it becomes easy for you to understand. Because you can remember when you couldn't eat 3 times a day because you were saving for the business to work. You remember the sacrifices you had to make sure that the company moves forward. When you become the governor, you'll be able to make the sacrifice to also make sure that the state moves forward.
Thank you so much for that really, really lovely insight. We go straight to our next story. In governance, SAN advocates 6-year single term for president governors. Senior advocate of Nigeria, Yusuf Ali, has called for the adoption of a 6-year single term for the offices of the president and the state governors in the country. Ali disclosed this in Ifetode, Osun State, on Friday at the inauguration of the remodeled Central Mosque for the town, a project he financed. The legal practitioner said the adoption of a 6-year term of office for the offices of the president and state governors would not only end self-succession while serving the first term, but would also prevent fights that usually characterize relationships among politicians. He noted that a 6-year single term of office remains a good option for Nigeria's political system, lamenting that lack of character has also affected negatively governance in the country. I have always been an advocate that a single 6-year tenure is good for our system. It will stop the fight for self-succession after the first 4 years. You will know that once you spend your 6 years, you're out of the place and there will be peace relatively, he said. Speaking further, Ali said Nigeria's constitution has enough provisions to deal with bad leadership, but blamed challenges the country is facing operating the law on lack of character. There are provisions in the law that can deal with an inept leadership. There is provision in the constitution for impeachment, but whether you abuse it or use it wisely is a different thing. What are your thoughts on this, given that we've been talking about corruption
all the while? And what you just said now is the truth. You understand me? The problem now is not about. It's not that the constitution.
We lack the laws.
We don't lack. It doesn't. We don't lack the laws. But the problem is implementation. That's where the human character now comes into play.
Do you think the 6-year tenure for governors and presidents is a good idea?
My God.
A straight one, instead of having the succession, 4 years, 4 years.
On one hand, I would say good. So,
Okay.
so you know that as you're entering there, if you use it wrongly, you just know that whatever you do, you'll be out after 6 years. It's a straight thing. So there's nothing like trying to do 4 years and then have loyalists to be able to go for the other one. No. You just know that if you're winning now, you're winning now. For me, to a large extent, it will be a good one.
Do you think it's going to aid with what we're talking about, continuity?
It will help. It will help with continuity. It will really, it will help with continuity. Because most times it is a re-election time when a governor or a president wants to go back a second term after having done the first term. That's when we have all this, what they call it again. That's why we have all the problems that we have. You understand me? I will have all the issues that we have.
Now, you said on one hand it's good. What's on the other hand?
On the other hand, my challenge with it is that somebody in that 6 years can do something.
Something like what?
Can do something that you be like, oh, because now there is not, you know, to the fact that somebody wants to go for a second term can actually make the person have a human face, because he still wants you people's votes for the second term. But when I know that I'm here, and after here, I'm not coming back here again, you can. That means I don't need your votes any longer. It can. The wrong person getting in there can do and undo in those 6 years and move.
All right. Thank you so much for your insight on that story. General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, RCCG, Pastor Enoch Adeboye revealed yesterday that he almost faced challenges with certain individuals in the country after urging Nigerians to pray for divine intervention against efforts by powerful cabals allegedly working to hinder the success of private refineries in Nigeria. He made his remark during the ongoing annual Holy Ghost Congress themed Onward Christian Soldiers at the Redemption City along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. While Pastor Adeboye did not directly name those involved, he referenced a statement he made weeks ago during the church's annual Abuja Special Holy Ghost service, which he said nearly got him into trouble. In his words, I said something during the Abuja Holy Ghost service which I'm not going to repeat because I nearly got into trouble because of telling the truth. Certain things happened, at least in my nation, Nigeria, that force you to wonder, are you under a curse? There are nations that didn't have all the resources we have, and yet they seem to be doing better than we are doing. Let me leave that out. It is worth noting that the Pastor Adeboye had earlier expressed frustration over the billions of naira spent on repairing the nation's 4 government-owned refineries, which still failed to function optimally. What are your thoughts on this story?
No, but then it's a shame to us that an individual could build a refinery single-handedly. And for how many years now, Nigeria, federal government, have not been able, we didn't say build new one, have not been able to repair the old ones and get it working. it doesn't speak well of us that NNPC now is trying to lobby to a refinery built by an individual to be the major marketer. I don't know if you understand me. I don't know. Where are we going to? How much will it take to get all the refineries in Nigeria working?
So are you of the opinion that privatizing the refinery was a bad idea?
It was never privatized. When did they do that?
Letting an individual build a private one.
For me, it would be beautiful if individuals are allowed to build refineries.
Great.
But like I said, the one owned by the government should also work. Because just like what we're talking about, the hospitals. If the one owned by Nigeria is working perfectly, individuals, they don't have a choice than to make their own also affordable. You understand me?
Right.
Because when the government own is working, the competition now becomes good. What we now have in the competition? We will now have more quality fuel, more quality diesel, such that now your quality now determines, you understand,
your market.
And it's going to be a beautiful one. And at the end of the day, the thing will be very cheap. Fuel won't be this high. And the issue of saying, having marketers telling us that they are importing fuel, now just think about it. Just think about it. So for me, we need more people to build refineries. And we also need the government for once.
But Port Harcourt refinery is currently on.
I don't want to say anything there about that thing, but for me...
I mean, with the Port Harcourt refinery, I'm just saying, don't you think there is an effort by the government?
What effort, please?
Given that the Port Harcourt refinery...
I know how many times they've told us that that the refinery is ready to start running. If I'm not mistaken, at least I've heard that in the news. By the end of the year, at least 3 times. And at the end of the day, we didn't see anything until now.
The year hasn't ended.
One of the years have ended. This is a new one. Now the truth is, for me, if Port Harcourt refinery is working, you and I will know. It will be glary. It will be... Now, how many people have you heard that they went to Port Harcourt refinery and loaded? How many? You know Nigeria now. If it is working, you would have seen NTA News, several news, even your station would have gone there to interview people. How do you feel loading from Port Harcourt refinery? You would have gone to do that, true or false? No. Don't tell me. If it is working, you would have seen news, reporters everywhere. How do you feel loading? A tanker driver would have been interviewed. Yes, today I was able to load so and so worth of PMS into my... You would have seen commentaries and all that. What? Where? Which one have you seen? Well, only just hearing in the news and nothing to prove.
So is someone telling a lie?
In Nigeria, would they say it's a lie? For me, I don't think it's working. If it's working, we'll know it's working. It's not something that they'll be telling us in the news. You will know it. You will know that it is working.
Thank you so much for your insight on that. Ethnic controversy. Badenoch detaches self from northern Nigeria. Head of UK Conservative Party, Kemi Badenoch, has sparked fresh identity controversy after saying she identifies herself as Yoruba and has nothing in common with northern Nigeria. Speaking with British media recently, Badenoch detached herself from northern Nigeria, which she referred to as a heaven for Islamism and Boko Haram. I find it interesting that everybody defines me as being Nigerian. I identify less with the country than with the specific ethnicity Yoruba, she said. I have nothing in common with people from the north of the country, the Boko Haram, where Islamism is. Being Yoruba is my true identity, and I refuse to be lumped with northern people of Nigeria who were our ethnic enemies, all in the name of being called a Nigerian. Somebody once told me when I was very young that my surname was a name for people who were warriors. They protected the crown, and that's what I see myself as doing. I'm here to protect, and I will keep protecting this country because I know what's out there. Badenoch's recent interview has triggered a war of words between her and Vice President Kasim Shettima, who publicly urged her to drop her Nigerian name. She has also come under criticism from Nigerians over her view about the state of the nation and corruption by public officials. Kemi Badenoch has been trending for a while. The president equally told her to drop her name. What are your thoughts on this?
For me, that's her opinion. That's her opinion, and somebody at that level holding that kind of office in the UK shouldn't be talking carelessly like that, if you ask me. You're coming to say that as long as you're concerned that you know you are Yoruba, but you are not Nigerian, in quote, because if you say you're Nigerian, that means you're associating yourself with the Northerners. I don't see that as the right thing to say at this time. Because
but why is this the wrong time to say? Is there a right time to say stuff like that?
Because for me, you don't anything, if you truly love Yoruba people, like you said, you are from Yoruba and you identify with Yoruba people and you love Yoruba people, you don't make statements that can begin an ethnic war. You don't say things that will cause problems for your people at home. Now for her, she's in London. She's not in Nigeria. But that statement right now, I'm talking about, and you and I know that all Northerners are not Boko Haram people.
Right.
You understand me? And that somebody is a Muslim doesn't make the person violent. There are good Muslim people. I've related with some. That's the truth. All Muslims are not extremists. There are good Muslim people that believe in peace, that when you are around them, you know that this is a human being that you can relate with. So when you just sum up the North and say, these are extremists, these are all terrorists, these are all, no. That's not right. That's not right.
What are your thoughts as regards Kemi's, view of Nigeria and politics and corruption?
I understand, yes, we are not getting everything right as a nation. Does not also mean that where she is now is getting everything right. The UK have their own corruption too. In their parliament, they still have their own corruption too.
Is it as prominent as ours?
The only reason why our own is so prominent to us is because we are here. If you get to UK right now, it becomes prominent to you too.
Do you think they are held more accountable to serve their time for their crimes more than we are in this part of the world held accountable,
yes,
especially those that abuse public office and
funds?
Like I
said, the only difference between the European nations, most of it, is that their human rights laws are working. They have value for their people. You can imagine that, let's assume now I buy a land inside a very thick bush. The moment the government finds out that somebody bought a property in the middle of that thick bush, the government does not need for me to even finish building. They will create a road to my place. They will bring light to that place immediately. They don't need to wait. These are people that have value. As long as a human being is living here and we are aware, they make sure that there is an access route to that person. They make sure that there is. These are people that have value for human lives. If we can come to that, that's the only difference I see. Then, but for her, I believe that she should have used her office whatever influence she has built over there, to see how she can be able to bring a change in Nigeria. Let's assume now she came to Nigeria on a tour, on her capacity, to see how she can be able to bring peace and see that the economy of the country works better. Fine.
What difference do you think Kemi coming to Nigeria would have done for our politics?
Right now, I don't know. I can't say. But I still believe that for her to be what she is at the level where she is, she has little influence. She may not be able to influence the whole Nigeria, but she can be able to do something. I don't believe any of us cannot do anything. But for me to stay there and write off Nigeria, write off the country that made you possible, because let's take it or leave it, if her parents aborted her, she won't be here today talking all this nonsense. But the truth is, that was too loud of her for me, if you ask me.
Do you think the vice president is in his rights to say she should drop her Yoruba name?
That one doesn't matter anything for me. A name is a name. You understand me? A name is a name. I'm looking at the world today. I have a right to come out and tell you right now, I'm no longer from this ethnicity. I love these people. As long as I've been around them for long, I've learned their culture. Telling her to drop her name doesn't change anything. Dropping the Yoruba name does not make her not be Yoruba, because it's still Yoruba blood that's flowing in her veins. And so for me, the vice president should have, for me, as her father, as an elder statesman, should have called her to order, not saying drop, you know what I'm saying, not saying drop your name. He should have been able to, tell her what's the right thing to do.
Now, much of the way life is, most times many Nigerians, even in sports, they leave Nigeria, go to other countries, excel, succeed, and that is the time Nigeria wants to identify with you. Do you think that Kemi's constant ignoring, as it were, of Nigeria is due to, due to our systemic failures and not wanting to help people to succeed?
The truth is, like I said, because of the abuse that we face in this nation by virtue of the way our leaders go about things.
All right.
Anybody that has ever been abused before will tell you that the moment they get the chance of leaving that environment of that abuse, nothing on earth will make them want to come back there. So that's what's happening to Nigerians. So the moment they leave this country and go to a country where they all of a sudden just find out that lives can be valued, that the fact that they are a human being, they can be respected, they can have a say, it becomes difficult to come back.
Do you think that still stems from what you earlier said about Nigeria not having a dream?
We don't have a national dream as a country. You see, we can have different ethnic groups. Does not mean that we cannot have a Nigerian dream. You can be Hausa, you can be Yoruba, Igbo, from wherever it is you're coming from. The truth is, it gives us it makes us stronger. Because I come with my view, my perspective, my strength. You come with yours. And together we can be able to have a Nigerian dream. To have a nation where I don't relate with you. You don't merit anything based on ethnicity. You merit it because you're a Nigerian.
All right.
You understand me? That's why I told you earlier on. We have a lot of Hausa, Yorubas, Igbos ruling us as presidents, as governors. But we need Nigerians to be in office. Where as you step in there, you are not thinking ethnicity, you are thinking nationhood. I am the president.
Right.
And as the president, I don't have ethnicity right now. I am to see that every Nigerian is taken care of. Until we have a Nigerian become the president or sit at the Senate level, you find out that all these religious issues will stop. All this issue of Yoruba this, Hausa this, all these things will stop. You can have a cabinet that is a presidential cabinet that is balanced. You can't tell me that almost all the major of during Buhari's tenure, almost all the major offices were houses. Do you want to tell me that there are not intelligent people enough from the Igbo section, from the Yoruba section, that can be able to handle those things? Now, a new president have come in now. Our wonderful president, President Bolaji Ahmed Tinubu. Now, check. Majority of the offices now are Yorubas too. No, that shouldn't be. If these offices are 20, for instance, okay, we can give it the fact that you cannot tell me you cannot find equal numbers from these geopolitical zones that can be able to sit in these offices such that there's a balance in the system. It's possible. But because we don't have people who are Nigerians yet ruling us, what we have is a Yoruba man that became president, an Igbo man that became this, an Hausa man that is a senator here. That's what we have. And that's why we're having the problems we're having. But if we can have people walking there and tell themselves, I'm a Nigerian. First. Before being a Yoruba man, you are a Nigerian first. That's the truth.
Thank you so much for your insight on that one. I'm really, really grateful that you had to join us here today. This is where we wrap it up on this episode of Atn Sunday. Thank you so much. Very, very deep insight you dropped on all subject matter. Remember that we are open for advert placement, booking, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our Atn socials on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network on Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1 on Twitter. We're on Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Remember, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Open Air comes up shortly. Don't go away. Thank you so much for watching. I am Otaria Benjamin.
From the lands across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
The biggest media and entertainment award ceremony in Rivers State in 2024 is upon us. The maiden edition of the Rivers State Media and Entertainment Awards is an award ceremony aimed at celebrating individuals and organizations that have stood out in the media and entertainment industry in the year under review. Oh yes, who will be crowned as the best? It will be a night of glitz and glamour as the radio station of the year, television station of the year, newspaper of the year, magazine of the year, on-air personality of the year, sports presenter of the year, and many more all receive recognition for exceptional work in the year under review. The biggest, best and most popular comedians, music arts and cultural troupes will be on display in a night not to be forgotten.
A friend of mine saw me. I'm like, hey, Basket, congrats, man. I heard your sister just gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. And I said, no. And he said, ah. So what did she give birth to? I said, a fish.
Date, Sunday, 15th of December, 2024. Venue, Aztec Acom, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt. Red carpet is by 5 p.m. and event proper is by 7 p.m. The gate is free.
Say you did wine me, say you did wine nobody.
Come celebrate with the biggest names in the media and entertainment industry as the Rivers State Media and Entertainment Awards takes our city to the next level. The 2024 Rivers State Media and Entertainment Awards. Be there or be square.
Representing people, Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
On will place economic stability and confidence. Your contentions are proper critical to needs of this minister and the government.
Give us access to our money in charge.
As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the dumb thing. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.